আমরা স্টার্ট করি। Let's start. So welcome to today's session of Internet to Internet. This session is primarily we will discuss on how Internet is helpful for us and how it is also not very helpful for us. That is one. And secondly, how we can use the advantages of Internet to the maximum by using a technology which is already with us. So I will be sharing that. Before that, let us start. Good morning, Devashish. Let us start by expressing our gratefulness to Mother Universe, to Supreme Power, and to anyone and everyone that we are grateful for. You can also think of people to whom you are grateful. You can remember their faces and take some time in acknowledging their contribution to your life and say a thank you in silence and with reverence. Thank you. What we will do is we'll relax. We'll relax by using a method called visualization, a deep visualization. And this deep visualization is a part of Yoga Nidra, which we practice now very often, very regularly. And those who have not been practicing or not been a part of the Yoga Nidra, you can go through the YouTubes. It is really very helpful. It helps you in many ways, which I will be sharing. So this process of relaxation is a process of visualization, which we will do before getting into the main practice or main session, right? So we lengthen our spine. And this is a technique which you can use at any point of time. It's very handy. It's portable. You can carry this anywhere because it goes with you. And whenever you are sitting anywhere, mind is disturbed, or your mind, you want to calm your mind, or you have been doing a lot of work, tired, fatigue, you can just do this for around 3 to 5 minutes, and it will give you amazing results, amazing results. And it will rejuvenate you. It's like coming back from outside in a hot summer day and having glucose water, or cold water, or healthy water to quench your thirst and to rejuvenate yourself. So let's do it. Ask your body to relax. Lengthen your spine, drop your shoulders, drop your waist. Just see if there is any tightness in your body and relax it. One of the ways to find out that you have relaxed is just to focus on the sensations on your face. And if there are sensations on your face or on any part of the body, primarily face, just relax them. Be aware of them and relax. Now you bring your attention to the middle of your eyebrow. And just follow my guidance. As you focus to the center of your eyebrow, I will tell you names of certain objects which you would visualize. Sometimes I would be fast, sometimes I would be slow. Just visualize them. Center yourself, your attention to the middle of your eyebrows. Sunrise, sunset, a tree, a green car, a flowing river, Snow-capped mountain peaks. Symbol of Om. A pen. A whiteboard. A cycle. A piece of cloth. Red tomato. Porcupine. Tiger. Dense forest. A pitch black road. Fire. Ice. A house. Focus at the middle of eyebrow now and just experience the emptiness, vacuum, space. Just blank. And now visualize again a green chili. A person standing on the road. A young girl. A green colored car. Blue sky. Drizzling outside. A boy in his school dress. And now, imagine the most loved person. Visualize the most loved person just behind your forehead, middle of your eyebrows, and stay there. Now come back to awareness. Focus on the sensations on your face. Feel the touch of the sole of your feet has on the ground and stay there. Do a feel out for some time. And now slowly open your eyes. Wonderful. Fantastic. Okay, great. Now that we move into the today's session from internet to inner net, what is that you think of this subject or topic? Is there anything that you have in mind about this topic, or is that you have nothing in your mind as far as this topic is concerned? And it would be good if you can switch on your video and speak for some time and then again switch off the video so that we can all see you and feel. So what is this topic implies? Well, particularly this topic I have borrowed from a person who is the chief evangelist of Google, and he looks after the branding of Google, and he has written this book, and his name is Gopi Kalai, and you may read this book and find out for yourselves. And with that, I have added some of information which I had myself. So what do you mean from internet to inner net? What is this topic? What does this topic imply to you? Anyone?
Inner feelings.
Inner feeling. Okay. So from internet to inner net, inner feeling. Okay. Fair enough. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Kakuli madam. Anyone else? Pamela, Debashish, Shubhajit, Momita. Let us make it interactive. It's a small group, and that would help. Are you guys there? If not there. Good morning, Shubhajit. Nice seeing you.
Good morning, Partho.
Good
Good
morning.
morning to all.
Good morning. So any thoughts from internet to internet?
The thought is we are all seeking inner peace. So internet probably offers us a lot of knowledge, but it takes us away from what we are seeking as inner peace. And we're trying to ensure that we use the technology to our advantage, where we move into the inner peace, seeking a pursuit of ours.
Wonderful. That's a great summarization. I think you are absolutely hit the nail. Yes, Pamela.
It's like we are always involved in internet these days. So internet is part and parcel of our life. It's very important to us.
Very important.
And anytime we think about something, some topic, we are always searching on internet.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
that's it.
Great. Fantastic. Momita, Devashish, any thoughts? I would like you to think about it because it's a very, very pertinent topic for the day. And it's okay if you do not have any thoughts around it also, it's perfectly okay. So from internet to internet, what Kakuli, Madam, Pamela, and Shubhajit said are perfect, that we use the internet daily basis. Internet is a part of our life. And how do we take advantage of this internet to get inner peace, inner net, which is there? As I told you, although we have technology in our hand, and we use technology to the fullest, right? Every day, every time, every moment. However, one thing which we forget, or I'm not saying that we forget, is that we have the best technology that is available in the world. Can anyone say what is it? We have the best technology with us. What is it?
Our mind.
Our mind. Yes, Momita. Yes, Shuzi.
Our brain.
Our brain. Yes, our mind, our brain. We have the best technology. Now, what is happening with the use of internet, with the way we use our smartphones or the laptop or the smartphones? We will discuss that. And we will also understand what is research saying about it. We will also understand what is happening to our brain and how we can utilize. Of course, internet is a very, very useful way of accessing to information and to communicate with others. And how do we maximize the utilization or utilize it or maximize the benefits of internet in our daily lives? So I will be sharing some information with you. I will be sharing some research topics with you, some research findings with you, which might help you. One of the informations which has been gathered is that we send around somewhere between 3,000 to 4,000 texts in a month. 3,000 to 4,000 texts in a month. In the waking hours, if we take only account for the waking hours, of course, sleep has also decreased for people. 80% of the people in the world are suffering from sleep deprivation, and people are becoming conscious about it and working towards it. So if we are sending somewhere between 3,000 to 4,000 texts every month, what does that mean? That means that every minute we are sending, every 6 minutes we are sending one text. Now, that is one information. The second information, why do we use internet and how long, how frequently do we gaze at the internet or look at the internet or touch our smartphone to look into internet, and why do we use it? So human beings craze for information, craze for information, it has been found, it is as strong as crave for sex. It is as strong as crave for sex. And this crave for information, what it does is, whenever we get a new information, we like it. However, we do not stay with that information. Again, this is an average. It can differ from person to person. We do not stay with that information for more than 10 seconds. So what we do is we look at that and jump into another information. We look at that and jump into another information. We look at some information and move into another information. So what happens is our mind does not stay with a particular information for long. Now, what happens for it? And why do we do it? There is a scientific reason for it. The reason that we do it is once we get an information, there is a neurotransmitter which is secreted in our mind, which is called dopamine. And this dopamine, what it does is, while this is a very, very useful neurotransmitter, it does create one thing in us, and that is addiction. So you would find that just after 15 minutes, a lot of us picks up this smartphone, goes to the WhatsApp or to the mail or to the Facebook and finds out whether there is any information which has come in or not. Now, really thinking, why do we look at Facebook after a post? We find out how many likes we have got. Why do we look at mails? We find out, is there any offer which has come to us, or is there any new information which has reached us? And why do we look at WhatsApp? We look at WhatsApp without any reason. We just scroll down the WhatsApp and find out whether new informations or new messages have come or not. What it does is it secretes the neurotransmitter dopamine. And this dopamine leads to addiction. Repeated secretion of dopamine leads to addiction. So this is the first thing. The second point is that in internet, there are very useful informations which are there. However, as I told you, we don't stay in one information for long. What really happens is we have two kinds of memories. One is a short memory, which is a working memory. Now it's like cache memory of the smartphone. I'll use this analogy because now we are used to the terminologies of the mobile phone cache, clear cache. Why do we clear cache? Otherwise, the mobile will hang. The same technology works for our brain. The working brain has got limited space. Now, when we move from one information to another, while we are thinking that we have gathered a lot of information, but the information which you gathered maybe 10 minutes back, that has been wiped off by the other informations which are now being taken from the mobile phone. Now, why does it wipe off? Because of less space. Just like cache memory. So what happens is you are actually working on the informations without getting benefit out of it. And because you are using your visual energy and cognitive energy, your energy is drained out. A lot of people complain of draining out by the evening without knowing why there is a loss of energy. The loss of energy is because the time you are spending on the screen. Now, how does this working memory gets consolidated into our long-term memory? It is through sleep. It is through sleep. Now, what does sleep means? Sleep means anything between the deep alpha state to the beta state. And when do you acquire this state? When you actually sleep, when you practice mindfulness or meditation or any deep relaxation, you access this long-term memory, and you convert the working memory into long-term memory. So ideally, even for students during exams, if they study something and do a mindfulness practice of 10 minutes, they do yoga nidra, and they sleep, this is cache memory is converted into save. So it is basically the saving that we do. It is control S. Sleeping helps, relaxation helps in control S. Working memory gets transferred into long-term memory. Now, how do we use internet to the maximum? Because it's very important. We can use it by cutting off the addiction part and using it for the important part. Also, we are all used to multitasking, right? We are all used to multitasking. However, the brain is not adapted for multitasking. It is adapted only for single tasking. So what happens is, what is happening in the recent past with the advent and the introduction of advanced technology, we are all in the leveling field. So a farmer's son at Joynagar in South 24 Parganas, he is on level field with the person who is a doctor's son, a doctor's child, or a doctor in San Francisco, because of internet, because information is available to all of us. It is just how we process the information is important. Now what happens? Let us come to this. The moment you jump from one information to another, and or it's something like an analogy is when you scroll in the TV, right? You change the channels, you just browse through the channels. What happens is your mind is actually not thinking. If you're searching for something and you're looking for it, it is fine, but most of the time we browse directionless. And when we browse directionless, what happens is our mind, this brain, it does not register something. So do an experiment today. You browse through the TV channels, right? You browse through 10 TV channels and try to remember what was the first or second channel that you looked into. You will not be able to remember. It has been wiped off from the working memory. And this is happening every time to us. It is happening without any use. You are using your energy uselessly. However, there is another reason which happens for this. While lakhs and millions bits of information are hitting our minds, there is a psychologist named George Miller who found out. Can anyone tell us how many bits of how many information we can store in a mind in a moment? How many informations can we process in our mind or store in our mind at any point of time? It is 9 plus minus 2. Sorry, it's 7 plus minus 2. 7 plus minus 2 means we can store 5 to 9, or process rather 5 to 9 informations at any point of time. 5 to 9 informations. You can check it out. You can check it out. You can check it out at any point of time. If I tell Shubhajit 11 names, he will be able to remember maybe 5 or 6, but if I tell him 5 names to remember and ask him to repeat those names, he will be able to remember those 5 names. But the moment I tell him
per second,
at any point of time, at any moment,
per second,
for any moment,
any moment.
So you try this out. I will tell you. Will you want to experiment this, Kakuli madam? Let's do it, right? Okay. I will tell you 5 names. Huh? Okay. Anil, Shobha, Shukla, Prabha, and Raju. Can you repeat the names?
Anil, Subha, Shukla, Prabha, Raju.
Fantastic. You did it. Right? Now let me tell you some more names. Right? Now these will be different names or there will be different objects. Okay? Tomato, green chili, potato, cabbage, Horlicks, water, biscuit, and soup.
Tomato, green chili, Horlicks, potato, cabbage, soup. I missed out something.
So this experiment you can try out again and again. It is 5 to 9 informations that you can process at any point of time. However, if you connect the dots within those information, then you will be able to remember. Then you will be able to remember. Isn't this fascinating? The 5 names you immediately said, here you could not, it was difficult for you. You perhaps will be through with practice, right? With practice, with mindfulness, with meditation, with relaxation, with practice, with study. By studying, you can do it. One of the ways is by connecting them, you can remember these names because then they become one. You are connecting in a process.
Like we used to play memory game in our childhood days. So
Yes. Ghure. And there, what happened was, Kakuli madam, is that there was repetition, right? There was repetition of the name. So the name which was mentioned at the first, no one used to forget it. The name which was mentioned last by the person just before us, we used to forget the name. Hey, what did you say? That was because the working memory was getting filled up, and now it is like a glass full of water. Now, if you have to pour water, you will have to put out some water and fill it again. It is like that. It is just like that, right? So what is happening now? Just imagine we did an experiment over here. You can do this experiment and again, and also you can connect them. So say for example, I'm saying, now I also don't remember what are the 9 names that you said. So for example, I'm saying cabbage, biscuit, water, soup, whatever. Now you connect them one by one: cabbage, biscuit, soup, water. And what you do is you take the cabbage, put aside the biscuit, add water, make soup, and like that, when you connect, it becomes one particular information, and then you can remember it. So you will see a lot of people can memorize things better than others. They can do it because number one, they practice it. Number two, they connect it. Right? Okay. So this was just one of the experiments. We can do some more experiments during the session. Now what happens is, when we sleep, this gets converted into the working memory, the long-term memory, and this long-term memory can be retrieved at any time because it is stored probably. Yes, Shubhajit, I will come. So you might again recollect that there would be very, very old memories which you remember. Now, these old memories are stored in your long-term memory and you can retrieve it. Some of the memories you can retrieve it immediately. Some of the memories it takes time. Some of the memories you cannot remember because they are stuffed below the old memories. But there are certain very interesting and fascinating things which I will share with you again as far as this is concerned, and how you can use internet to the best of its ability or best to your ability. Yes, Shubhajit.
Hello.
Yes, Shubhajit.
Yeah. All that I'm saying is, say tomato, cabbage, Horlicks, water, soup. If I remember them as visuals, does it help us to remember them better or faster using lesser time?
See, all that I'm saying is the mind brain's capacity is 5 plus minus 2. Sorry, 7 again. I'm 7 plus minus 2. Now 7 plus minus 2 is 5 to 9 bits of information which you can process. Now you may practice them practicing visually. Again, what I'm saying is if you connect them, it becomes easier. Right. And definitely visually, if you're a visual person, if you have practiced it visually, if you are mostly using your ability as visuals, it definitely helps. It needs practice.
Can you
So-
exemplify a connection? Can you exemplify a connection?
I just did, Shubhajit, 2 minutes back. So cabbage, biscuit, soup, water, tomato, and say door, right? So you might connect it when someone is telling the names. So cabbage, I take cabbage, put aside the soup, put aside the biscuit, take water, make soup, add tomato, add green chili, like that. So when you repeat, when you take out the names, there is a, yes, you visualize it, there is a connection, and you repeat the objects.
So what does taking out means? I couldn't follow that part.
What taking out?
What does taking out, when you say take out, what do you exactly mean by that?
When did I say? Sorry, I told it from subconscious. So if you can just say, when did I use take out?
Yeah, all that I wanted to know is a particular item followed by another item. You said take out. So what do you mean
Oh,
by
take out is just like that. So it is my processing that I take the cabbage, move out the biscuit, add water, make soup, and then add tomato. So this is
Okay.
just a processing that I'm doing in the brain.
Okay.
So what I'm
Got
doing
it.
is, instead of 5, now they're becoming 1. But I have to do it fast and it needs practice. So there are a lot of people, you will see number games. So the third eye also gets activated. You will see a lot of people blindfolded. They will tell you the names without even looking at it. So those are I mean, other exceptional performances. But here,
Got it.
how do you remember is, I'm just giving a 7 plus minus 2 and how you can remember, just that. And we did an experiment with Kafili madam. When I told her 5, names of 5 objects, she immediately remembered. But when I told her around 8 or 9, she could repeat around 5 and deleted the other 3, 4, although it's in her mind. If I would have given the sequence, and if she would have made the sequence, she would have probably remembered this. So that is what I'm saying, right?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, and this is a very, very important way of memorizing. Okay, now let me get back to something else, something very, very important also for this discussion. Now what happens is, when you look at the smartphone, you need to charge it, right? You need to charge it. So we get complaints from the parents that my child is fiddling with the mobile and I cannot stop it. They're playing games. What is happening is, and they're playing repetitive games. So this repetition of secretion of dopamine is creating an addiction in them, which is making them look at the mobile and play the games, right? And you will see games like PUBG, it also creates a lot of excitement, So there is a lot of adrenaline flow. Dopamine with adrenaline, it creates an addiction which can also tend their mind, and you will see people hanging themselves, people playing, fighting only on the smartphone, which is actually not happening. So they are in a world which is absolutely different from the reality. There's nothing to do with reality, but they are inside it. Now, I will show you a video which tells you about multitasking, right? Multitasking is one of the things which can harm our brains in a major way. Now, what is multitasking? Multitasking is doing many work at the same time. Say, for example, You would probably see while you are boarding an aircraft that there is a gentleman standing in front of you talking on the mobile like this, eating a sandwich, taking out the boarding pass, and also looking around. When he reaches the ticket, this person, this ground staff, and he hands over the boarding pass, and when that person speaks to him, he doesn't listen. He says, yeah, yeah, what, yes, yes, what happens? And probably something will fall. Now, while he is doing multitasking, the brain is not liking it. And there is a tremendous amount of energy flow which happens. There is a tremendous amount of, because there is a lot of stress because of the multitasking that you are doing, your energy drains out. You can rejuvenate your energy, however, you can bring back that energy and rejuvenate yourself at any point of time. However, this is what happens. I'll show you that video. I think I have it somewhere. Right. Just a minute. I'm sorry, I'll get back to you. I'm just trying to retrieve that video which is there so that I can show it to you. So this is a video which shows what is the effect of multitasking on the brain, right? So I'll come back to it once I am able to retrieve that video. Okay, now one more experiment which has happened and which has a long-term effect, I mean, which is affecting people, is that immense problem today apart from task-oriented internet. It is giving you problems, sorry. Let me find out. Okay, borrowing casualty for information. There is a very important aspect of internet use, which is social or socializing. It also has reached an addiction level for some, needs discussion. Of course, I will. So Devashish, if you can also word it out, I think that would be great for us. We can take your point.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. All this time I was having problem. The subject is internet, and I'm having problem with internet. Right? Ironically, no. So I think you were in a trail of other discussion, right? I'll come to the social aspect.
Yes.
A
Just
little
give me
later.
some time. I'll come to
Sure.
the social aspect also. So that is also a
Sure.
part of the discussion, which is very much there.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll come to it. Yeah. I'll just try to access it. Sometimes, yes, it is the internet again, which is creating problems. So anyway, I will. Yes. So I'm retrieving it. So one of the researchers was shown
about public speaking. Number one, कि आपको फराटेदार अंग्रेजी आनी चाहिए. If you don't know how to speak in English, you can never.
I hope you can listen to it. It's a very short video. It's a 2 minutes video. You can, I will just play this, and if you can just confirm that you can hear the sound.
Even though our brains
Can you hear the sound?
Yes, yes, yes.
reward this kind of behavior, even though they make us crave information, even though our brains reward this kind of behavior, even though they make us crave information, they're actually not very good at processing information with the intensity and the quantity and the speed we find ourselves surrounded by today. And the reason is that our short-term working memory has a very small capacity. Working memory is essentially the contents of your consciousness at any given moment. What you're aware of is in your working memory. What you're not aware of is not in your working memory. And you probably remember at least the title of a famous paper that came out, I think, in the 1950s. It was called, I think, The Magical Number 7. And the author of it said that it looked like we could hold in our working memory, in our consciousness, around 7 pieces of information at once. And that was the maximum. And the thrust of his paper was, this is a very small store of information. And since then, we found that actually that's an overstatement, that our working memory probably can only hold somewhere between 2 and 4 pieces of information at any given time. And when we take in too much information at once, what happens inevitably is that we start having this phenomenon where things are coming into and out of our working memory, into and out of our consciousness really, really quickly. Because as soon as you take in a new bit of information through whatever screen you happen to be looking at, some other piece of information in your working memory has to leave, has to exit in order to make room for the new piece of information. And when this happens, and psychologists, particularly educational psychologists, have been studying this, particularly this phenomenon, particularly as it relates to education for a long time, is you suffer quite literally cognitive overload. You're overloading your mind, you're overloading your working memory. And when that happens, you're never paying close attention to anything. You're never focusing on one thing for an extended period of time. And unfortunately, there are all sorts of important intellectual processes that, as a result, get short-circuited. They never happen because they require us not to take in constant information, but to filter out information and to focus on one thing.
Yeah. So it talked about the same research or the information which I shared with you, right? So when you are conscious, what are you looking at? What are you hearing? What are you touching? Right? You cannot, repeat that. Say, for example, when you travel from office to home or from home to office, and someone asks you, or from market to office or home, whatever, someone asks you, narrate to us what all you saw, you will not be able to tell them the entire journey. What you tell them is just a subset of the journey because you filter information and it's very much required. Otherwise, you will be overwhelmed. Right? If I ask, say, Debashish, what are you seeing now? And she will say something which is seeing, but it's just a subset because he's seeing much more. And it is not possible for him to say that. Now, when you look at the internet, what you do is you just browse through it because you are not aware of what you are looking at. And there is one bit of information which you gather and you move into the next and the next and the next and the next. Even it has been seen that when a person looks or stares at the Facebook, he stares at that particular for maybe some milliseconds and he just browses and he closes the Facebook and moves away. It is just for the sake of opening the Facebook that he does it sometimes. And it is an addiction. It is the effect of dopamine. He just gets the mobile, looks at it for 1 second, the WhatsApp. He does not even know what he is looking at. He does not even know whether he's expecting something. It is just the craze of looking into the WhatsApp messages and he closes it down. But what happens in between is that he uses his senses and his energy is drained.
I have a question. This
Yeah,
mobile
sure.
thing, this technology এখন এসছে, তো যখন এগুলো ছিল না, then what happened?
So there was less of distraction. There was less of distraction. A person used to sit and chat and talk. Say, for example, a home on a Sunday, right? People used to gather, they used to talk. They, the child used to go to play on the Sunday morning. The gentleman used to go to the tea shop and maybe gossip and come back and they sit down. So it is there. Now the effect of internet is very good.
No, I would.
Fantastic. It's fantastic. It gives, I'll just come back, Devashish. It gives you information. It gives you the ability to connect with so many people with whom you would not have been able to connect. Here we are connecting only because of internet. It's very good. Internet is a very big boon or blessing for the mankind. It is just that how we're using it. Probably if you use it judiciously and you use this brain in conjunction or in combination with the internet, that is where this topic is all about. Internet is fantastic. Today in Joynagar, as I said, he's in a level field with the doctor at San Francisco. He can avail any information. Today everyone knows. I was taking interview a little some days back, and I asked about Ukraine and Russia. And this young fella, he knew about everything about Ukraine and Russia, about NATO. And he told, and when I asked him, what do you think will happen? He also narrated his views. And this was sometimes unimaginable. Earlier, the information was newspapers. And the newspaper used
Exactly.
to... Yeah, Devashish, please.
No, exactly. You came to the point which I started saying that just an example in terms of when we used to sit on a newspaper early morning, right? There was a browsing element there, right? Searching for information. You were reading something and some other subtitle was more catchy. So we moved to that.
Yes.
We moved to the next page and all that.
Yes.
But at least the limit was within that bounds of the newspaper, right? And it was completely on your level of concentration that you wanted to read one news through and through. So nowadays, see, even the newspapers are smart. They are moving away from print media, one thing, right? The other thing is that even in the news, in the head news, they will make a small subtitle of the key points in that news, right? So you don't get into that junk, everything reading through the thing. There are 4 or 5 highlighted salient points that you read through and you're over, right? But coming back to your question of those days, what we used to do, same thing applicable for a telephone, right? Ringing in the let us say main room, and I was in some other room to fetch the information. There was a one-on-one talk which we used to have with some person, right? But today, with the mobile here, we can get across to so many people at the same time, right? So group socializing and group meetings have become very important. I mean, it's possible, feasible.
Absolutely.
So these are, so this is what I mean. So we are one of those generations which we lived through both, right? The pre-internet era and the post. If you look at the post-internet people, right, the children of the Gen Z and upwards, right, they don't know how it used to be, how the past looked like, right? If I tell my child that go and read the newspaper, spend some good amount of time, it will give you a lot of information and all, he would rather not touch it. He will say, I'll get it through the internet, right? Throughout the day, he will be doing something or the other in the internet. I don't know how much information it gathers. It completely depends on the man's quest for information, right? And that is where, casual browsing is very, very harmful, and very focused browsing for information seeking is important, right? Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
আমার তো 4 পেপার ছাড়া সকালে আমার হবেই না, মানে
because you belong to that era. You and I were indoctrinated with that. So আমরা দুটোর মধ্যে we cannot, compromise. I agree.
Our brain is, and our body is actually made for that. Say, for example, I still do that. What the habit which I had in the childhood, I used to get the paper. What I used to read are 2 pages. 2 pages. First page and the last page. First page was the headlines, just what Debashish just now mentioned, the headlines, right? That Ukraine has attacked Russia. Putin is determined to drop nuclear bomb. Everyone is demanding Manmohan Singh. Modi inaugurates this, that's all. And I used to switch off to the last page. What was there in the last page? The sports page. That I used to read in details. I used to
Like
read in detail.
এটা কিন্তু মানে ছোট থেকে যদি ইনস্টল করা যায় এই হ্যাবিটটা, লাইক আমি আদিকে করেছি, ও কিন্তু প্রত্যেকদিন সকালে নিউজ পেপারটা পড়ে, and he starts from the sports paper.
Yes, yes. So it's a habit. Absolutely.
It's a habit.
Absolutely.
আরেকটা জিনিস I'd like to put this in, like internet কিন্তু like the phone which we have, it helps me in remembering things. I have an issue with remembering things. So it helps me a lot. Like I jot it down in the notes.
Yes, of course. Of course, internet has its distinct advantages. I will share. So thank you, Pamela, for sharing that, and Devashish also, and Kakuli madam. I'll just share. Yesterday, I went for a function. I realized when I got down from, I stay in the second floor, I have not taken the mobile, right? And I just said, let the mobile be at home. After I think 20-25 years, I went without the mobile and stayed without the mobile for 3 hours. And while going in the car from my house to that destination, at least twice or thrice I knew that the mobile was not there, but I was searching. Acha mobile, oh acha, I have not brought it. When I went there, when I was coming out again, I wanted to look at the WhatsApp. So where is the mobile? Acha, it's not there. When I came back home, so the lady who stays, she's a maid, she says the phone was ringing, you did not take the phone. And she was also very disturbed because the phone was ringing and she did not know what to do with it. So I said, phone has come, okay, let it be there. So it is absolutely a habit for us. I agree. It's like a handkerchief now. It's like the wallet now. It's more important than the wallet, and the handkerchief is the mobile. Yes, I agree. Coming to the point of socialization, right? Socialization has definitely been benefited by the introduction or by internet. We have been able, we are connecting here. It's a proof. This Zoom meeting is a connection, right? We can see Kakuli madam, Devashish, Shubhajit. We get so happy when we see Shubhajit after a long time. Hey, Shubhajit has come. Hi, Shubhajit over there. Are Devashish, you were not there yesterday. What happened? So these things happen. However, saying that, it is just the extent to which we need to use, and what Devashish mentioned is the crux of the discussion. If you do a random browsing, if you do a random search, which generally people are doing, that is harmful. But a focused browsing, a focused approach, that is do. When you are doing random, it is multitasking. Your mind is not being able to store anything. It is useless and you are draining your energy. But if you are doing a focused browsing, a focused information gathering, it helps you because it is there in the working memory and it does. Now, is it necessary for us to do reasonable things all the time? No, not at all. But if we are aware, we can take an informed decision. That is the purpose of discussion. Okay. So Devashish, would you want to touch upon the social aspect?
Yeah, very much. So can you hear me? So I'm trying to
Yes,
reascertain if you're
absolutely okay. This place.
So my question is that I little bit differ in terms of the socializing has improved or whatever. I think the reach has definitely, it has helped us to reach out. So I'll go to the concept of physical sciences first.
Devashish, we have again the internet now.
Pros cons
We
দুটোই
pass
আছে ইন্টারনেটে।
Uh-huh.
Hello,
Yes.
you can't hear me?
Now
can't-
we lost you. Now we can hear you
Acha,
again.
acha. I'm switching off my
the
video maybe.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the concept of physical sciences, where there is this concept of gravitational attraction between two bodies, right? So it's Gmm by r square. They
Devashish, we cannot hear you. Can others hear him? I have
between
switched off.
the. Hello, can you hear me? No.
We lost you,
No?
and yes, GMM by r square. We can start from there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you? Okay, now I couldn't.
No, Devashish.
ভীষণ নেটওয়ার্ক প্রবলেম হচ্ছে চারদিকে।
Hello.
Devashish, yes, Devashish, yes, yes.
Oh my God. So what?
Switch off your video, Devashish. Switch off your video. Switch off your video.
Now is it okay?
Yes, yes, it's okay.
Okay. So what I was saying is the physical proximity of two human beings, two or more human beings, is extremely important for socializing. Okay. I would say internet is a compromise.
Okay. Yes, you said internet is a compromise.
Unless I don't know. Can't hear me.
Yes, internet is a compromise. You can start from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Internet is a compromise.
Devashish, we cannot hear you, so maybe you can type it in the chat box and we can follow it. Right. You can probably type it in the chat box. Okay. So let Devashish come back or type it in the chat box. Yes. So socializing, if you see, I was mentioning the last day that while it is broadened, the socialization, it is broadened, the deepening have probably reduced. Probably.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, so wireless phone internet is better, looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you can hear me clear,
Yes,
loud and clear?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, okay. So my thought was around that, right? I mean, even if you look at the Man Friday theory, right? In an island, man seeks man. Okay, that is the fundamental rule of any living flesh and blood human being, right? There and the proximity of a person, whether we call it body language, whether we call the hugging part or whatever, right? Today the pandemic has taught us not to even shake a hand, okay, not to even go and hug the person, but probably that is not by design, okay, that is by degradation of the social things, that order which was caused by global warming or whatever, right? But the fundamental rule is man gets the most satisfaction when he is having a force of attraction between two people, okay, standing apart. Even today, when we come home, okay, we don't wear the mask when we are not well enough. I mean, when we don't have this problem of whatever infection, we don't wear the mask, right? Do we want to talk between our children, between the family on internet? So socializing, when we socialize, we would rather the values that we hold in terms of sitting on a dining table and chatting with our near ones, I would like to extend that into a party as well, right? When tens of people are there where we want to chat and do this thing. So I am only saying that internet is an enabler to the extent that we can't meet remote people, so we meet them through internet. But that never substitutes our ability to socialize, the reason for socializing physically. That is my, I mean, if you take it as a debate point, this is my, submission.
Yes, I would go for your side, Devashish.
Yep.
While relationships are broadening, they are not probably deepening. There can be debates around it. There can be exceptions around it. But overall, I think that's the sentiment or that's the message. Information, relationship can all be helped. How you can use it and where mindfulness. So today's, at the end, how mindfulness can help is mindfulness helps your brain to calm down, right? Calm down. It also helps you to be blank. It is like when you are charging your mobile, generally we ask people not to use it, right? I'm using this analogy because people are more used to internet and charging and so on and so forth. So when you are charging, you don't use it. Similarly, mindfulness, practice of mindfulness, practice of relaxation, sleep is when you are charging your body. And during charging your body, what happens is you actually move away, you fill up the battery, you remove cache, and you make space for something more to happen and to use your mind in a better way, use your smartphone in a better way.
Correct.
Right? So,
Correct.
Giving this analogy, I will now come to 2-3 things, which is very important. Nowadays, everyone wants to touch human lives. There is a book by, I think, one of famous USA presidents. I think it's Bill Clinton. In his book Giving, he mentioned how we can cater to mankind. And it does not, like Devashish was saying, that, we can actually meet them, talk to them, but touching them, hugging them, that gives a different feeling. Doing good for the people also gives you good feeling. I'll come to the end of this session, but by sharing certain very, very heartening news. So Bill Clinton, in his book Giving, he wrote that every person is capable of contributing hugely in a massive way to this world, in a huge way, massive way to this world. And he gave an example of a lady called Osceola McCarthy. I do not know whether you have heard her name or not. Osceola McCarthy, she in the University of Mississippi, right? University of Southern Mississippi, which is also called USM. She donated $85 million. I think it's $85 million, or I don't know, little more than that or less than that. Sorry, it was around $300,000. I stand corrected. $300,000 for the scholarship of poor girls, right, in University of Southern Mississippi. So she must have been very rich, right? Let me share with you, she was a lady who lived long, and throughout her life, she used to wash dishes, wash dishes, wash clothes of people, and that's how she was paid. She had a very, very humble living. At the age of 80 plus, she went to the bank and asked how much money is there, and they said it is $300,000. Later on, people donated funds to that bank account, and it became a massive, massive bank account. Right? There is a website called Kiva. Okay, how many of you want to become international financiers and want to finance entrepreneurs? How many of you? And dream, just an aspiration. No one, Kakuli madam does not want to do it. Okay. So Kakuli madam, after this, probably you will want to. Let me share this with you. There is a website called Kiva. There's an organization called Kiva. Okay, she will not do it. Okay, don't do it.
I'm happy with where I am.
Okay, fair enough. So Kiva, this website, here you can go in. If you're doing a business, you can ask for a loan, or you can provide a loan to people. The loan amount can be as little as 1,000 rupees. And you will know to whom this loan is going. This loan might be going to a poor farmer in South Africa. It can be going to a poor entrepreneur in southern India, eastern India, Pakistan, Colombo, anywhere. Right? And it gives you a lot of satisfaction. There are others, websites also, where you can do very small things. So a small person can do very big things. At the same time, a small act can bring in very big results. One of the small things that you need to do is stay away from the smartphone. Now listen to this carefully. I'm not asking you or intruding into your personal life. Stay away from the smartphone for at least 2 hours in a day. For at least 2 hours in a day. Right? Even if you have the crave rather to touch the mobile and see the Facebook and see how many likes you have got, how many messages have come, stay away from that. Stop yourself from that. And this 2 hours will be your time for replenishment. Because now with the mobile in the hand, browsing, random browsing, dopamine is secreted, adrenaline is secreted, not doing any good to you. Use your inner net more than use your internet, but along with the inner net. Inner use of your inner net helps you to replenish your mind so that you can use the internet better. Right? And how do you do it? Mindfulness practice, meditation practice, relaxation is no more a could be. It is a must be. It is a must practice. It is not that you should or you could. It is a must, because this helps you to replenish yourself. This helps you to use the internet better. This helps you to use the smartphone better, to use the technology better. And you will be a better person in terms of higher energy. You will be a better person in terms of better thoughts, and the load on your working memory will be less, and you will be able to connect the dots. Like if there are 9 objects which are mentioned, you will be able to connect them better and move it into the long-term memory, the consolidated memory. And a consolidated memory, a strong consolidated memory, a strong working memory, you know what it does? It makes you more happy. It just makes you more happy. So with that, if there are any thoughts that you have, I'm opening up a subject which we will discuss again, which we can discuss again and again. But to the mankind, the topics that I'm discussing every Sunday, or many of the Sundays, are very, very beneficial. Today, people are going back to their old days. People are looking for the newspapers. People are looking for the old friends. People are going back to the old places. People are using old technology. But yes, new will stay. However, your mind should adopt to new ways of replenishing your energy. So that's with that we end. Before we end, take a minute, just relax, focus on the sole of your feet touching the ground, and focus. Slowly open your eyes. Here you are. Thank you. Devashish, you wanted to say something, probably. Okay. Pamela.
No, I'm sorry. I've come to a marketplace, so
Okay, not an
thank you
issue.
very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Devashish. Thanks. Okay. So if there are no sharing, see you again tomorrow morning at 7:15. Hope you enjoyed the session. Hope it added value. And if
Yeah,
this
was
has
nice.
If this has added value, then please add value to some more lives. And as I mentioned, we'll meet again tomorrow at 7:15. So see you. Till then, Om Shanti, and let today be the happiest day. Thank you.
Thank you.